morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are and whenever you are. Wow, it's been a few weeks and I don't know what buttons to push anymore. Welcome to the community live stream. This is Chuck Tomasi, and this is the show that brings you. Ooh, I got a little bit of green screen thing going on with my shirt. I apologize about that. It looks like nasty dandruff. It is Friday, and it's going to be a punchy day. This is the show that brings you not only the answers to the community, but the thought process, the journey of discovery, what goes on behind that to bring you those answers. And as I said, my name is Chuck Tomasi from ServiceNow. I'm the ServiceNow guy with the cool bow tie. Let's get into this. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you very much. Good morning, John. I know it has been a while. Subscribe to the channel you see right there, and you will get turn on those notifications. Hopefully, we have notifications. We do have notifications. Let me bring up the notification screen like you see right there. I think I've got a Twitch one in there and a YouTube notification. So we'll see if the phone is doing us any favors or can be of any use later. Give me a shout out in the chat if you're there. I know there's a few people watching and you get your alerts. I know it's Friday and probably some of you are already gone home for the day. But I appreciate you watching anyway. Excuse me. I mentioned we do this on YouTube. We also do this on Twitch over at twitch.tv/NOWCommunity. Love to see you there. Thanks for joining us, Shane. Good to see you, Carolyn. Long time no see. I think my last episode on this was April 1st. And I was planning on doing it April 5th. There's really like 3 in March and 2 in April. I'm going to try and bring you at least one more before knowledge. So let's continue on with the pre-roll. We have the community. If you've got a question or an issue or want to learn something, go over to community.servicenow.com. It is a wonderful, wonderful place. That's what you see behind me. That's where we're going to be doing all the Q&A, digging in, doing some experimentation, finding out what people need and where the interest lies, so that hopefully in the next hour or so you can find something useful, entertaining, learn something. If you do, click that like button on the YouTube video, or if you're watching this in the community, check that this is helpful so that other people know there's something useful in here. I will be doing show notes and posting this video back to the community just moments after I hit the stop record button. Just gonna double check. Yes, I did unmute the channel this time. I knew I'd forget something, and it was which community I was hitting Command I instead of Shift I to bring up the screens. My fingers don't remember what buttons to hit anymore. It's been over 3 weeks since I did this. So let's have some more fun. Yeah, it has been too long, and it's really been largely on account of preparation for Knowledge 19. There has been so much to do this year that if I were to try and cram this into the morning, I would have fallen down dead. It would have been exhausting. As it was, there were 12, 14-hour days to put in just getting demos for keynotes, getting hack zone exhibits. I'll share with you what I've been working on in just a moment. It has been a journey, and I am really looking forward to seeing people there in just over a week. In fact, let me bring that phone screen back up. If I remember right, put that away. There are just 8 days till I leave for Knowledge. I'll be there on Saturday. It officially starts on Sunday with pre-conference training. We'll get into the whole thing, but not long now. Didn't that thing say about 180 days a minute ago? It's been a wild ride to get to Knowledge, and some of it feels a bit last minute, but we are there. If you are new to the community, let me bring that up. I haven't done this in a while. If you're new to the community, you might want to check out some of these handy observations, some guidelines, if you will, about how to be most effective in the community. First thing is search first. There may be an answer out there for what you're already looking for. Before you post, see if there is somebody who's already discussed something similar. Search that answer out and you'll find it, and you're good. If you can't find it, then post your question, post your issue. One per topic, please. If you ask something very broad, like can someone explain IT service management, it's probably going to be difficult to actually find an answer that works with that. I've also seen people say, I need to do this and write this script and there's 4 or 5 topics in there. That doesn't work so well. So keep it simple so that people can zero in on the answer you want. If you've got 5 questions, hey, post 5 things. one gets answered first, and move forward with that. So that'll work best. If you do post, make sure you post in the correct community or forum or sub-community, as you will. There's developers, there's IT service management, there's ITOM, there's reporting and analytics, there's different sections. So you want to get the audience that specializes in those topics to answer your questions. Make sure you post it there, and post it only once. I have seen people try and get clever and post the same thing in various sub-communities, thinking I'll maximize my viewership. Actually, you're not, because now nobody knows which one to answer, and you've got threads going on in multiple places, and it's hard for you to maintain. So one question per post works best. You can read the rest of those as you wish. I am going to move on to what the experts would do. If you've been on the community for a while, consider turning some of those frequently asked questions into a blog post or a video or some topic that you can share to grow your expertise, grow your brand, and take care of, be part of that community. And thank you for being part of this community. Let's continue on. What's next? Oh, developer portal. I forgot to get to the right screen. So developer.servicenow.com is where you can go to get a free personal developer instance. Go to find all the scripting APIs, free learning plans. There is a lot of information out here. Blog entries by Andrew and Dave, and I think there might even be some old ones from Josh. They've put in the comment feature. I think that was in March, so you can now comment back on their blog entries. Good stuff out here. I encourage you to check if you haven't already done so. The personal developer instances are free, as I mentioned. You can get those on the latest releases, Madrid, London, and use those as a sandbox. Test those out. Try things before you bring them into your organization. Say, you know what, I've got an idea. Let me prototype it over here. And then you can crash it, burn it, do whatever it takes. Good morning, Steve. How good to see you again. And again, developer.servicenow.com is where you want to go. We also have meetups available under events. If you look on the events menu, let's see if there's any coming up. I don't know how many are coming up before Knowledge, but maybe there's some after. Dusseldorf right after Knowledge, May 14th. Melbourne, May 21st. Minneapolis, May 21st. Copenhagen, June 5th. And if you want to know more, you can go over to meetup.com/pro/ServiceNow Dev Program. 50 chapters, over 15,000 people worldwide that are part of this developer community. These are meetups different than the ServiceNow user groups, or SNUGs. The SNUGs cover a lot of topics. It could be GRC, it could be security, it could be ITSM, could be whatever that they have on the agenda. But developer meetups are just about developer topics. You could be sharing code that somebody wrote. You could be, after knowledge, you could be playing Jeopardy that I wrote. It's going to be, I'm going to make that available, and I may pull out an example of something I learned while doing that. But they're just for developers to grow that skill, to grow that knowledge, to grow that community in these areas. If you would like to start a chapter, reach out to us. We'd be happy to look at getting one started. I think there's currently a limit. We haven't grown past 50 in the past few months, but we can at least queue that up so that when we do get that machine running again, we can get those chapters up and running. And I would love to come to your location and break in your chapter, be there for the inaugural meeting, and meet people that are interested in this. It would be absolutely fabulous to do that. We are moving on from meetups to other events you can find over at events. ServiceNow.com/events.html. I believe that's what it says up there on the bottom. Yep. And you can find, like I mentioned, the ServiceNow user group meetings. We've got sessions coming up in the fall for, well, these be called Now Forum, Now Summit. I heard yesterday they had a slightly different name, but I can't remember what that name is off the top of my head. We will be getting there. They're like mini knowledges. So if you can't make it to the big knowledge on May 5th, you could potentially make it to one of these that's a little closer to home. I know we're going to be doing these in Tokyo and Sydney, and we'll be getting the schedule out real soon. In fact, Lily notified me of that. Don't know if I'm going to be able to make as many as last year, because I do have a family commitment in October that is going to eat into that schedule. So we'll see. I am looking forward to those as well. I want to get out on the road, do more evangelism, apps in your area. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Enough of the events, you know where they are. The big one, of course, is Knowledge coming up May 5th through 9th, Las Vegas. Not long now. I think my thing said 8 days. Craig Stepp, the man who does all the provisioning of the instances, well, he's part of the team that does the instance provisioning. 50,000 instances he's going to provision that week. He will be showing up next Wednesday here, May 1st. I don't know if I can have him on the show. Maybe a photo bomb or something. Maybe we'll see if he knows any answers. We'll find a way to do multiple cameras or something. We'll get that going. And dig into the community. Anyway, back to Knowledge. This is the big event. Lots and lots of things. Let me pull up a quick list of where you can find me. Go back to this screen real quick. I will be co-presenting at CCW 567, which is Take a No-Code Path to Automation with Jimmy Wan. I think that's one of the last ones on Thursday. I don't know why I ordered them this way other than numerically, but that one is Thursday afternoon, May 9th. CCW 1304 is right before that on Thursday. Go beyond a single table. These two are part of our new builder track. So if you're an experienced developer, these are probably going to be a little bit beneath you because they are no code examples. We're trying to get more of the no-code persona in your organization, the process owner, the business analysts, the people who need to build those applications and work with the pro coders, not trying to take anything away from the pro coders, but trying to allow them to focus on the areas that really interest them. If you're like me, and I know I am, you get up in the morning and you want to write code. You want to write integrations. You want to write service portal widgets. You want to write actions for your flow designer stuff. And then let the no-coders take advantage of that. So you get to do the complex stuff while the no-coders and the low-coders get to do things like put fields on forms and write reports and build those flows. That's what they know well, and we can enable them to do that. So working together, you get more velocity. Anyway, I'm getting a little markety here. I don't want to get into that. We have 3 Jeopardy games, 12:30 on Tuesday, 1 p.m. on Tuesday, and 6:30 on Tuesday. So CCDT is the CreatorCon Theater. We'll be doing the game of Jeopardy 3 times with 3 different sets of contestants. These are ServiceNow people playing for their favorite charity. We have all slots filled at this point. So fingers crossed everybody shows up, but I do have a backup plan in case anybody schedules change, things happen, emergencies come up. We will have that covered. This is a game of Jeopardy that was built on ServiceNow, about ServiceNow, for ServiceNow. And there may be instances, I encourage you to show up, because there may be instances where the experts don't know the answer, and I'll turn to the audience and see if you know to do that. I will be playing Alex Trebek. There's some interesting technology involved with this. For example, when the question shows up on the screen, or sometimes it's an image, I will also have it on my phone. So there is a widget running on a service portal on my phone, and they communicate with each other. And then when we get to Final Jeopardy, the contestants scan a QR code and are brought to a page with a widget, and they enter in their answer and wager there. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's a bit like trivia if you're not familiar with the game of Jeopardy. Yeah, no, it's been around for about 30 years, 20, 21, 24, something like that. I heard Alex Trebek say it. It's been on television for a while. It's like a reverse trivia game where they give you the answer and you have to ask the question. Such as, he founded ServiceNow in 2004, and the answer that you would give would be, who is Fred Luddy? That's how it's played. And whoever buzzes in first gets to try and answer the question first. Anyway, we'll have a lot of fun at that. I'm also doing one at the Developer Theater. I think it's right before the first Jeopardy game, called Application Patterns, which is basically what ServiceNow is really good at and what it's not. So I'm going to do a short presentation. The Developer Theater sessions are all 30 minutes. Look forward to seeing you there. CCW 1655 is at the end of the day on Tuesday, where we're going to take an Amazon IoT dash button and integrate it with two ServiceNow. This is a team exercise. Teams of 4. One's going to be writing a flow designer flow. One's going to be doing a little bit of code. One's going to be doing the integration and setup of the button. So there's going to be a lot of collaboration that's going on. Hey, what's the endpoint? What parameters do I need? What was that API called? That kind of thing. I also will be hanging around the CreatorCon Hack Zone. Do have a health club. We've used Raspberry Pi set up a series of exercises. Some of you may have seen the post I had on LinkedIn where I was doing jumping jacks. That is a sample of what you'll see on the screen where it says, "Welcome, Chuck Tomasi. You signed up for the light cardio workout. Let's do 15 seconds of jumping jacks." And if you see people doing jumping jacks or push-ups or planks or something while you're walking around the CreatorCon floor experience, you'll know why. It's because they're part of the ServiceNow Health Club. And you can join up for your free membership simply by badging into any one of the stations. Special shout out to Brad Tilton and Arnett Cooey, who have been helping with the service portal end of that. They've been doing a bang-up job and couldn't have done this without them. The builder space is, again, targeted towards our builders. The no-code personas, quick little 10-minute workshops of how to create a table, how to import a worksheet, similar to what you're going to get in CCW 0515, which is build your first application in an hour, presented by Ian Ron from ServiceNow. But this will be a condensed version, and you can go in, get some of those fundamentals of how to do a no-code application, and of course, the hackathon. So that's where I'll be. It's going to be a very busy schedule. All day Wednesday, you probably won't see much of me. I will be in rehearsals for the Thursday keynote. I am responsible for demos and some slideware that's going to be part of the Thursday morning keynote with Pat Casey and Josh Kahn. So that's really what's been consuming most of my time in the last 5-6 weeks, which is why you haven't seen me here too much. It's been the keynote and only the keynote. All right, let's get into a couple of things regarding the community. Get to the right tab. I have my community screen here. I'm going to start with a couple of follow-ups, things that I found interesting this morning. Sorry for that long intro. I know that was a bit much. Oh, I forgot to mention that any code. Yeah, I skipped over one. Any code that is going to be, let's get the right screen and get that G out of there. Any code that is going to be written today, it will be available on GitHub at the URL that you see there. If I write any script, you don't have to squint at the screen and try and copy it down yourself. You can copy and paste it from the dated folder that is there. Okay, back to where we were. This is more of a philosophical than a technical discussion, and I love these questions on the community, because the question is, hey, I was asked by my director if there was a way to restrict incident management that forces our technicians to work incidents from oldest to newest. So he wants them to only be able to assign the oldest incident in the queue to themselves and not be able to pick through the incident for the easier work. Is this even possible? I don't really care for situations like this where you're trying to modify the technology to enforce to literally force the behavior, because it usually backfires and somebody says, wait, we've got a VIP ticket that just came in and we have to run it right now, but it's not the oldest. You don't want to wait until that's the oldest. There's just too many problems with this that bother me. You can see where that could potentially blow up in your face. My response was, let's take a different approach. Let's enforce effective behavior by positively enforcing the good behaviors and negatively enforcing the bad behaviors. I know it sounds simple, but there are times when you do want people to work on any ticket possible. But yet don't let those old ones slip. My answer, think about implementing ACLs and then reward or reprimand. I don't know if that's the right word. Based on those SLAs, based on the threshold. If we have less than 5% breach, you get your bonus, or you get a 5% bonus. Or if we have more than 5% breached, you don't get any bonus. If you tie it to someone's wallet, they are motivated. Trust me. They will look at those old ones to prevent them from slipping. And you start with something simple, like a blanket SLA that says 24 hours, or maybe it's 36 hours, or maybe it's 7 days. I don't know. It's up to you what you want to implement. And you say, don't let anything go beyond this date, or your bonus, or your whatever it is at stake. Maybe it's a group dinner at the end of the month. I don't know what your reward system involves, or what as a manager or director, what you're capable of. But I'm sure you can find some way to reward good behavior and say, this is where we're going. And if 7 days is too much, you start cutting that back to 5 days or 24 hours or 12 hours, whatever your organization has for, make it an informal competition, contest to see who can keep those breaches from happening. And when you say, look, your bonus or your compensation review, your performance review is based on your effectiveness at keeping these old tickets, you don't have to put in any other technology. SLAs are out of the box. This other method of trying to script something or an ACL or whatever just sounds wrong in my opinion because it's going to backfire. Trust me, I've seen people try and do this before where they say, I need to make sure that nobody does X. And it's such a draconian, overriding rule that you're going to start seeing exceptions creep in and go, well, this doesn't work anymore. And once people figure out how to game the system, they will. Good morning, Viraj. Good to see you. And I say morning generically because it's my morning. The other one that I found interesting was called schedule a template. This was posted last night, or at least last night for me, but responded recently. I've been trying to set up a template that will schedule a ticket. I was hoping to create requests for regular tasks that need to be completed at different times, and I have a few questions. One, if I would like to record, let me try this again. If I would like it to be a request, should I reference the SC request table? How should I schedule a template to create a request item? I've tried the following information. However, and they were looking at schedule a template. However, when I try to schedule it, I click run periodically, and then I put in the repeat interval. When I was a customer, I had the same kind of thing. We didn't have change management implemented. We did not have problem management. All we had was catalog, incident, and knowledge. Those were the first things that I implemented in 2008. And we used incidents as a way of doing recurring maintenance. We had to patch servers. We had to, I know this is really crude, but hey, it was an immature organization 11 years ago. And we didn't have any processes for those things before, so now we're at least automating them. I started with templates and doing scheduled templates, but what I found is the templates always had to be maintained in dev. So every time we had a staff change, and we had a staff change maybe every 3 or 4 months, somebody would move on to another role, somebody would move on to another organization, and I backfilled them with usually a temp to hire, a contract to hire situation. And Brian would leave and Jim would come in, and I have to go into my dev instance and change the assign to field on all of these. And it wasn't easy because the template field, let me show you something real quick. Get into my admin instance, or excuse me, my dev instance, and Chrome seems to have changed the way it remembers passwords these days. And there is a template record. Rather than talk about this, let's just show it. Not survey templates, not report templates, not compliance templates, system definition templates. Right there. In there are templates. No, I don't want to remember that. Thank you. Let's find one on the incident table. Should be easy enough. We have example incident. Good example. Let's go to global so we can take a look at this. And I would come in here, and of course, like most people, you set this up and say, what do you want for the short description? What do you want for the state? Please redraw this screen. All right, I'm in global. Why is it under the safety application? That's not what I want. Something must have gone wrong on a community live stream somewhere. All right, so down in this template field, this is not fields as you would think about them. So the contact type is self-service and assigned to, when you're setting up your templates, it's very straightforward. Assigned to is Beth Anglin. Assignment group could be software, so on and so forth. Short description, you get the idea. Patch the OS on server. And next, one. Little Star Trek reference there for you. Okay, you save that, and it's exactly easy to come by and say, oh, Beth has gone on to the security team, and David is now, you got to go through every one of these templates. So what I did is created a secondary table. This let me manage data on prod. This is part of my underlying philosophy on how to make your apps, and pretty much everything on service now is easy as possible to manage. Make it data driven. If you have to go back to dev every time you have a staff change, you're doing something wrong. When as regular operational tasks happen, you should be able to tweak those. Maybe it's a property, maybe it's a lookup table, maybe it's something like that you can quickly identify and change on production. Okay. You may have different compliance and control and regulation things to say, am I allowed to change this on production, and do I get approval to change it on production, depending on what it is. But at least you're not going back to dev, you have to go through UAT, wait 3 weeks for your next release. Yeah, that's ineffective. You need to be able to change these rapidly when team members change. Jim is starting on Tuesday. I need to have these templates up and running so he can start patching whenever that next recurs. So I created a table that said, here's the name of this template, patch servers. Here's who it's assigned to. Maybe a related list of templates. Your data model may change. I don't remember what my logic was for when that came up, but I had one scheduled job that would run nightly and say, all right, which of these records need to be turned into incidents, and assigned to was driven out of that data table, out of the table that I made. So if Brian had 13 servers to patch, all I needed to do was change his name in those records, or if it was a parent-child thing, change it on the parent record in my data lookup table, and then all of those related template records would default to him by this task. Now, how did we apply the template, you ask? That was very, very easy. See if I have that in here. Not that one. It was out here. Schedule a template. And there is a method in service now called scripted templates, where you can say current.apply template. If it's not current, it's going to be some GlideRecord, right? If I'm in a scheduled job, I don't have a current, I would do a new GlideRecord and apply it that way. So if I were to do this, let's take that example. I forgot. Does it take a Sys ID? You tell me. No, takes a name. Very easy. So take this name and hey, I'm going to write some code today. What do you know? And there's probably been a patch or an update to Visual Studio Code. Here we go. Look at this. That's old. That's old. Let's put a new one there. And we know that we have a template. So let's go get a record. Let's create a record as if this was in a scheduled job. Put that in there. I'm going to put that in. Then rec dot apply template and the name of the template. Rec dot insert. Done and done. What this field contains, template, is an encoded query. May have heard me talk about encoded queries before. They're used when you do list lookups, when you filter out a list and say active equals true and priority is 3, it's going to give you active equals true, up caret priority 3. It's the way we encode the queries so that we're not storing the direct SQL statement anywhere. We're storing sort of this meta string that helps us generate that. You can put in dates and reference fields and all this other stuff into this encoded query string. This is an encoded query string. You probably saw it when I went to the record that was read-only. There. When it's read-only, you can see the encoded query string like that. That does not lend itself well for, hey, go find all of Brian's requests and change them over to Jim, because now you're looking for one Sys ID and putting in the other. Ugh. I'd rather go through a table and do a list edit, or go into one record and change that from Brian to Jim or Joe or David or whomever. Okay, that's the idea. But to apply this to a record is simply done with this apply template. Let's go and create a new record. See what happens. I'm going to run that in scripts background. So I have that as one of my favorites over here. Paste that in, run in global, run script, and let's see what happened. Incident.list. If the demo gods are with me today, we'll sort by oldest to newest. Do we have anything in here, or did it do something funky with me? Who's it assigned to? That does not look like mine. Didn't even check the date. Was it created today? Opened 6:31 a.m. All right, apply template did not do what I want, but you get the idea. I'm not going to go and debug this for you. Well, it was some fun. Viraj says, please check this question. I need some info on it. Which question? There's hundreds of thousands of them in the community, and I know you can't paste URLs into YouTube. So you're going to have to give me some identifying, some sort of reference designator. Let's continue on. I'm going to pull out a couple of new questions on here, something that's not answered. See what we can find that's unreplied. I saw one right at the top. GitHub Source Control only pulling Sys IDs for reference fields. Not sure what exactly that means. Let's see what we can find out. I have a scoped application to 2 instances of ServiceNow that I attach to Source Control in GitHub. However, when I apply local changes in some reference fields, I get the Sys ID of the record I'm referencing and not the value. This causes problems in my workflow, and I'm not sure how to fix it. I've attached the example photo of the issue. Does anyone have any suggestions? Let's see what the image looks like. Okay, triggering columns. I'm not sure what that image is of, but it seems to me whenever you see Sys IDs, it's an indicator of one of several things. Whenever you see Sys IDs in a list or record, it means one of the following. Most commonly is you're referencing a record that doesn't have a display value field. Okay. Does the table you are referencing, okay, let's put this not in a question form. The table you are referencing does not have a field indicated as the display value. e.g. display equals true on one of the fields in the dictionary entry. The record you are referencing does not exist. This can happen between instances. If you have a user record for Chuck Tomasi, for example, and Chuck doesn't exist on the other system. You just got an address. You have an address, aka Sys ID, but no record to reference. There was a third case that I think has been resolved, and that's if you had a reference to a reference and you dot walked. It used to display the Sys ID. I think I pointed that out as a bug years ago, and it's been fixed. I'm trying to remember what the third case is these days of when you would see a Sys ID. This used to be on one of my quizzes. I had a technical best practices accreditation exam, and now I can't remember what the answers were. There's one other, but I can't remember. There's one other rare case, but I don't recall it at the moment. Check the first two and let me know. Then I can go find that third one. Nope, somebody already replied. Can you provide more context of where you're getting Sys IDs? Says Elijah 2 minutes ago. Implementing Twilio video, is it possible? JSON payload structure is messed up and I don't know why. I gotta look at this. That's just an intriguing title. Good morning and happy Friday. I'm currently integrating ServiceNow with Jira Cloud and everything seems to be working except one single field. It's a custom field in Jira. It's named custom field under 10800. And as you can see below in red, whenever I pass the incident number variable, what's it trying to do here? Curly braces in there aren't going to allow you to do that. It's going to be $. Sys ID, name, incident. Okay, I get an error posting says it's not correct. So you're passing in Sys ID, but these curly braces, I'm not sure what they're for. That might be a Jira construct. Any idea what I can do to pass this variable without the extra stuff in it? Be interesting to see what the other ones look like. ServiceNow side says key is project key, summary is short description, name is issue type, custom field is Sys ID. And the ServiceNow ID is coming out as name incident. So custom field is an object. Do all of these have to be objects? I don't know too much about what Jira is expecting. So that's the fun part. Have you tried it as a literal value rather than an object? Example, let's put this into a little code snippet example of, JSON would have been nice. Custom field, I think that's what they called it. I don't remember what it was. Under 10,800. I think he had, not that, but just do Sys ID. Ding, ding. You know what I forgot to do? Although I don't think I posted a response to anything. There we go. All right, I had a capital F, they didn't. Let's go edit that real quick, just for the sake of consistency with their stuff. Make that small. I honestly don't know what the answer is, but sometimes just fiddling the knobs a little bit helps. So let's see what we get out of that. Prevent new fields in import set table. Test management, ATF UI action not clickable, although it's visible. Interesting. Which UI action would this be? VIRaj says reference field icon property set to false out of the box. Why? Finding out reason behind it. This is the questions. I've noticed this in the past. I don't know where your question is on the community, so let me see if I can find it real fast. You just want to know a reason why it's false by default? Do a quick search. Slow browser, take a drink. Let's look for anything posted, and I assume it's the last day, maybe. Nope. Past week. I am not finding it in 30 seconds, so I don't know the underlying reason why, but I suspect I know why. And that's for security. If you leave that icon open, it allows people to drill in and effectively dot walk through the forms, even if the field is read-only. So the property he's talking about is in sys properties .list, and it is called glide.something read-only reference field. This is actually one of our Jeopardy questions. So if you want to sound really intelligent, show up at one of the games there. I usually just look for read-only, and that's not it. It might be read-only as one word. That's it. glide.ui.reference.readonly.clickthrough, and it is set to false. What happens is if you have a reference field that's read-only, it does not show, for example, that is a boring table. Let's not pick that one. Here's one. So let's go to an older version of my Jeopardy game. And in here we have reference fields. Okay. So player has this info icon. And if you click that, you can see into the record and open it up. And for security reasons, we want to make sure we err on the side of caution. So this is false. Now, you say, wait a minute, if it's false, how did you just click through? Well, this field isn't read-only yet. If I were to take this field, go to the Jeopardy application, and make this field read-only, you'll see what I'm talking about. Configure dictionary on the player field, and say, make that field read-only, update it. Now it's read-only, and it does not have that. So you're preventing users from doing something potentially that they shouldn't. I remember when I was a customer, the systems did not default to restricted. The ACLs were open by default, and I had to write ACLs to restrict everything. It wasn't until a couple of years later that we had default deny turned on as the default security model, and this came with it as well. So actually, I think this has always been false by default. Now that I think about it, when I was a customer, this was one of the first properties I remember changing. So that's my answer. I don't have any empirical evidence to back it up, but I'm sticking with it. There was a potential topic that I wanted to talk about that I found interesting. So while I was building the ServiceNow, HackZone, Health Club, and the Jeopardy game, I found some interesting things out. And one of them is this instance of keyword in JavaScript. I don't use this very often, but I'm going to start using it more now. And what I discovered is, I don't know if it's in this version of the Jeopardy game, but I'm going to look real quick. So let's go to Studio. I know I used it, but I don't know if this code is up to date enough. If it's not, I know where I can go find it. Oops, not data model. That is so habit right there. Util in my script include. If it doesn't, it actually has a good example. Wait, drawn. Okay. So as many of you know, I am an advocate, let's get the English correct, Chuck, an advocate of using script includes for my server-side code. It's a nice library, easy to unit test, easy to layer up that stuff. Well, what I was doing in my initialize when I would instantiate a new object from the script include is pass a glide record, because everything seemed to center around the game. What card is on the screen has to do with the game. What players should be displayed on the screen has to do with what game it was always this game. But when it came to things like scripted REST APIs, the inbound integrations, I had a resource to say, hey, guess what? Let's go and change control, because somebody else, I don't even remember if this is a good example or not. I would pass in a game ID, because that's all the portal knew was what was the ID, what was the Sys ID of the game record. And I had to turn around and turn that into a glide record before I could instantiate my new Jeopardy util object. And that seemed like a lot of extra headache. Why? It just kept coming up more and more. Here's a Sys ID, get a glide record so you can instantiate the object. I said, why doesn't the object just do this itself? So what I came up with is a little bit of research. And I said, I know I've seen this before. And at first I thought it was type of, but type of keyword simply says this is a string, this is a Boolean, this is undefined, that sort of thing. It does not tell you what it is when it's an object. So let me get the actual instance where I've been developing this. And yes, I have exported it. It is an update set ready to post to share. I have sample data. Stacy Bailey has corrected me on a few sample data things, so I need to rebuild my sample data. And I created an export utility that's an add-on because it has to go in the global scope. It uses some global APIs that are available in scope. But you can export an entire game, all the cards, all the players, everything that makes that up, so that somebody can take that and say, I love your Star Wars Jeopardy questions. Can I have that? You could export it and import it into another instance and then start sharing these data sets. So that's what I did on the way back from, it wasn't Toronto because that's when I broke my laptop screen. I think it was Boston. So now what I do, getting back to the script include, this is a more up-to-date version of that util. I can pass in either a Sys ID or a glide record. And the script is smart enough to say, you gave me a Sys ID, therefore I need to go get the glide record, because this whole engine runs. Many of the functions or methods in this script include require or depend on that glide record being defined. So it starts out and says, what did you give me? What was game an instance of? So when I instantiate it now, I don't say game gr. I can either say game gr for a glide record or game ID. Look at the inbound integration now. Much simpler because I don't need to do that. What was I looking for before? It was the set control. There it is. So set control now says the scripted REST API passed in a player ID and a game ID. Okay, Craig answered the question correctly. Let's make sure Craig has control of the board when we play the next one. Now when I instantiate it, I can pass a game ID. Ooh, and it's smart enough to say, wait a minute, you didn't give me a glide record, therefore I'm going to assume, since I'm the chief programmer on this, that it is a string and it is a Sys ID, and then I will go to the game table and get the game with that parameter and set this game ID and this game GR appropriately. If you gave me a glide record, then I already have the glide record because you gave it to me, and I will get the Sys ID from the unique value. So I can tweak it internally. I'm putting the intelligence into the initialize function, which happens right here when you do a new whatever it is on your script include, that runs initialize. And for most of my script includes, this is empty. But in this case, I wanted to set up a few global variables for this object, and I use that lightly. What is the game record and what is the game ID? Because I reference those, and rather than passing them in and out of every function, because some of these are 2 or 3 functions deep, make them known throughout and you don't have to pass them. There's no sense in passing something that everybody should know about anyway. And then, of course, I set a default state for a couple of other things. And when I get down to functions like this, and I say, hey, let's go get the categories associated to this game ID is already known because I set it in the initialize. And I can find others down here, this game ID. There's a couple others that have this game GR, so on and so forth. I mean, this is a pretty hefty script include. I thought about breaking it up, but it doesn't have any logical partitions to it. But that is instance of, and it makes my script includes, particularly the initialize, able to accept a glide record where it needs to be, or a Sys ID that I can turn into a glide record and use that throughout the script include. Very handy. Very handy. So that is my note on, I gotta find my ideas. Instance of. Love this one. And I will mark that as available soon. Did I have a script on here? Let's make that false. Now that I've talked about it, and I will put it in the show notes for today so that you can find that. We've got 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Something else I learned in the last couple of days. This is a new one on me. Let me go to my studio in my personal developer instance, switch to my CLS application, because that's just a good place to write stuff for the community live stream. And what I noticed is when you make a table in Studio, and I think this is true outside of Studio as well, I haven't checked. When you make a table, it creates some default ACLs for you. And you can see here is the CLS chuck table with delete, create, read, write. Here's the item table, delete, create, read, write. You get these 4 basic ones, and it usually involves the role that you had for that operation. Now, these are read-only because I don't have extended permission right now, but it puts on a role. It says, if you want to delete a record, you got to have this role. Very simple, basic security to start with. What I discovered, and you'll see it here, there is a many-to-many definition here, which created this table, CLS M2M item chucks. There is a many-to-many. But what you don't see when it created that table is a set of ACLs for that. And this came to bite us when we made the fitness center, the health club. The Health Club, a real light architecture on this. We've got a specialized device running on a Raspberry Pi with a badge reader. Its job is simply to scan badges and display a web browser. Because we're taking the badge and it says, when you badge in, it says, aha, I've got a badge ID and I know it's at this particular station. Sends it off to the ServiceNow instance and says, you figure it out. Do you know who this is? Did they scan their badge or did they scan their hotel key? If they scan their badge, do I know them as a contact? Or do I have to go and retrieve that from the conference registration database? So if it says, I don't see Chuck as a contact, can I get his badge from the registration database because he registered on Sunday and now it's Thursday? Welcome, Chuck. Looks like you haven't signed up for the Health Club. Would you like to sign up? So the device is pretty simple. What happens once it figures out who you are and you're signed up, it says, oh, you signed up for the light stretch exercise. Therefore, I'm going to find out what light stretch exercise goes with this station. Excuse me. Where was I going with all of this? Because there's many-to-many tables involved between the contact and the workout. And it creates that record. When it says Chuck is at station 4, create him a light workout for touching your toes. Let's say that's the light stretch workout for station 4. The problem was that there were no ACLs on this table. So we were doing the test and saying, hey, this particular button that says cancel workout isn't appearing, or the start workout button isn't changing to cancel workout when it starts. It was very confusing because we thought it was the service portal widget. Turns out when we were testing on the desktop, we would go to, actually I can show you some of this stuff. It's kind of fun. When we were testing on the desktop, I might actually have, there's a very large version. Oh, we put the logo on the screen. Somebody's been working. This changed since last night. You're seeing real recent updates. Okay. And then I go to the REST API Explorer. So I can go back to the right instance because I gotta send an imitation badge ID. So let's go to demo CT1. As if, because the unit's not on and I don't have it and I'm not going to scan a badge. But what I can do is first go to the Health Club application, get my contacts, find a badge. Let's say Andrew Barnes is going to badge in. This is not his real badge. This is a simulated test environment. But as soon as I get to Vegas, I'm going to be changing the APIs with a property, data-driven. And I want to impersonate him at station 4. So I'll go to my REST API Explorer and inject. I'm going to trigger the scripted REST API for the Health Club application. And I have the station check-in. It is a very, very simple payload. It is simply station is health, spell it right, 04, and badge is that. Okay, I know who it is and where they are. I don't know what they want yet or what they get. And when I send that, creates a record watcher picks up and it goes, hey, cool, I see you. It looks like Andrew Barnes and you're at station 4 and you're going to be a moderate stretch. Let's stretch out your calves. And we would click this button. When we're testing this, obviously I'm logged in as me. I'm an admin. I have all kinds of access. Security's not an issue, right? You get this. You know what I'm talking about. But when the device was doing it, it was logged in as a separate account. It was a lesser access account. It timed out because Andrew didn't do anything. He must have walked away or was talking to the camera. Okay, so it didn't do anything. And that start workout button never changed. That was the issue. And what we found was, where I'm getting with all of this, is that these tables, which I don't have on the screen anymore, nope, not here. Anyway. Oh, yes, I do. It's over here. The many-to-many tables did not create an ACL, so I had to add those. Be aware that many-to-many tables don't create ACLs by default. Now, obviously, security is something you're going to build as part of your development process. You're not going to be as haphazard as I am and do these things for demonstration purposes, but consider what is there by default. And as you're considering your ACLs, pay close attention to the delete operations, because I don't like anyone short of admin to have access to delete buttons. And by default, the table adds this role. Now, just because you have the role means you might be able to read records, you might be able to even modify some of those records, but I definitely don't want any of the process owners to delete those records. So I often get rid of this one and put in admin, or maybe even nobody. There is a role called nobody which precludes anyone. If you delete the ACL, then nobody's got access. But I like to make it a little more explicit and say, when it comes to deleting on this table, nobody has access. This shouldn't happen. Okay, that's my pontification about ACLs and many-to-many tables, and that takes us pretty much up to the top of the hour. I wish you a good weekend. I look forward to seeing you again sometime next week, and hope to see you at Knowledge, where we can get a selfie together. So see you in a few short days or sooner, and look forward to talking to you. Until then, if you find something helpful, be sure to share it, and you will be a winner in my book. So take care. Have a good weekend. Bye now.